Hi there, welcome to Heroes of Change. And this evening I have with me Mr. Glen Sharkey. If I was to say to you tonight the phrase, change your thinking, change your life, what gongs go off in your head, Glen?
I think that change starts with people's thought processes, with people's mindsets, and if people don't change their thinking, often we're naturally resistant towards change. And the difference between change being palatable and unpalatable is our thinking, is our mindset. And therefore, if we change our mindset towards change, it seems to actually change the way we feel about the change, and therefore changes our perspective about the change as well.
And of your personal story, your personal journey, where you've consciously recognized, you need to change, and it may have been
Sure.
in business or personal relationship as a parent.
Yeah. I was tutoring a course at the time, and I was asked if my guys were going to be on work experience, and I said yes the following week. And I was told that I had to clean up the resource room. Now that was a job that we would give to a school leaver, an intern, not a course tutor. And everything inside me rose up. I was really going to fight this one. And as the day came closer, and this was we're only talking about a 2 or 3 hour event to clean up this resource room, but I was going to fight this with every fiber of my being. And I suddenly thought to myself, why am I allowing management to choose my attitude, to choose my mood? And so just a revelation, a light bulb went on for me. And instead I approached the resource room. I wasn't going to do it at all. I was going to fight the instruction, but instead I spent not 3 hours, but 3 days cleaning up that resource room as if it was my own, as if it was my own resource room, as if it was my own business. And my attitude completely turned around 180 degrees. My attitude towards management turned around, their attitude towards me. And since then, I've never been fired and even come close to being fired in a job. So that was really a pivotal moment in my work life, a dramatic 180 degree change. The mindset that I grew up in didn't put me in good stead for really effective work relationships. I didn't realize how strongly ingrained those values were until I hit this pivotal moment in my work life, the resource room moment, that caused me to really evaluate why am I fighting, what am I fighting for, and why. And at that time, a really good friend, I guess, sort of preempted some of this thinking by saying to me, Shark, you don't have to die on every cross, on every hill. Just pick your battles. Some battles are worth fighting for, but as Patrick Lencioni says, you need to learn to disagree and commit. I think the first thing is that it is necessary to be honest about your weaknesses or challenges in terms of time management and procrastination. If you can't be honest with your weaknesses in this area, how are you going to address them? And then you need to know, once you have those weaknesses, what are the best ways? I mean, there are some people who cannot work in a home office. There are some people who can't actually work in their own business. They have to work as a salary or a waged employee. I think it's important to know what your weaknesses are and to know how to make that, how to compensate for them. And for me, accountability is a huge one. Deadlines are a huge one. I think my personality type, there isn't a personality type like this, but if there was, I would be a cycle courier. I would be a CBD cycle courier in terms of time management.
Yeah.
I really thrive on deadlines, and so it's really important for me to have deadlines. Procrastination's such an interesting one, and it's different for different people. And some people are incredible self-starters. I'm a great starter. I'm not a fantastic finisher, and I recognize that. And again, my wife and I work in our business together. I'm the front face of the business in terms of training and speaking and coaching, but she's a huge part at the back end. And she's really good at telling me to stop chasing bright, shiny objects and to and just to focus on finishing.
Do you think New Zealand as a culture could be a little bit more embracing of those who do really well and supportive?
Tall poppy syndrome in New Zealand is way, way, way too alive and well. I wish we could take a leaf out of the Americans' book and learn to celebrate other people's successes.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you cut people down to your height, not only do you not grow in height, but you no longer have people to look up to and people to admire. And so I think actually, you know, when we cut others down, it hurts us also.
Yeah.
It damages us. So I think you're absolutely right. We were a nation that was born on pioneering, and I think that has slipped out of our psyche. But I think the younger generation, in some ways, has a much more pioneering spirit than we do. Your parents, my parents, might have been the kinds of people who would be in their jobs for 20, 30, 40 years.
Yep.
That's not the change with the next generation, nor do they want it to be. So I think probably that I'd like to think that tall poppy syndrome, that its days are numbered.
So when you're in the transition of change, you're approaching change, Glenn, do you have any go-tos in your life?
I'm still playing football competitively, and I'll play up to 3 times a week, but generally I'll get to play at least once or twice. And what I find is that it doesn't reduce stress, but what it does for me, when I walk out onto a football field and play for 90 minutes, whatever I was grappling with, whatever stresses I had prior to that, they disappear for 90 minutes. And so when I pick those stresses up again when I walk off the football field, the clock restarts, and that's no longer a stress that I've been living with for days or weeks or months, but it's now a stress that I've been living with for 30 minutes, an hour, and it means that if I play at least once a week, I never live with any stress constantly 24/7 for more than 7 days. In fact, I had a client that was it was a reasonable 5-figure client in terms of a proposal, and it looked like it was going to get across the line. And I found out about a week or 2 ago that they weren't going to go ahead with it. And it was looking really positive. It was 90% plus that it was going to happen. And so it was really interesting processing some of the feelings that I had when that proposal wasn't accepted in the end. And it was just a matter of sort of allowing myself a short period and making sure that it was a short period of feeling a little bit disappointed, but putting a stop to that at a certain point and saying, okay, you need to get back on the horse. Richard Nelson Bowles, the author of What Color Is Your Parachute, has a poem about the job hunt which goes something like this: no, 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 yes. And he says, the faster you get through your no's, the faster you get to your yes. And I had a little period of feeling disappointed about the proposal not being accepted. And then I said, okay, you need to take responsibility for this. And if this is just one of those no's, your job is to get a lot more no's coming in. Because with a lot more no's, you'll get a lot more yeses. And I just got back on the horse and managed to get a cheerful disposition and carry on. It's interesting. There was a study done by people over the age of 95. In fact, I was just relaying this study yesterday to a leadership group, retail and hospitality. And people over the age of 95 were asked, what 3 things would you do differently if you had your time again? And they said, reflect more, leave a legacy, and take more risks. And I guess I want to speak to that issue of take more risks.
And finally, Glenn, tonight, could you just a golden nugget of sage advice for those out there when they've got change on the horizon, they may be making excuses or procrastinating, and they're contemplating change, whether it's a relationship, business, or even in a sports team. What would be that one piece of advice from your journey, do you think?
What I would really encourage people to do is to be on the front foot in terms of change. If you have dreams, if you have things that you'd love to do, but you're holding back, really look at how you could pursue those dreams. Really, if you have your family and you have your health then actually not a whole lot else matters. And some of the things that we worry about in terms of our particularly our material security is really overrated. And so I'd really encourage people in terms of change, if you're holding back on some of your dreams, if you're holding back on giving stuff a go, then just don't. You know, I was just talking to someone recently who's stepping out of paid employment and is going to pursue their dream of professional speaking. And I said to them, what's the worst case scenario? And they said, well, I go back into work. And you would easily get a job? Yeah, my skill set's quite sought after. Well, really, what have you got to lose? You know, I would really encourage people to be less change averse, particularly in trying to make their dreams come true.
Glenn, thank you so much for your time tonight and sharing some of your stories with myself and for viewers of the Heroes of Change series. It's been a privilege